Hello everyone, this is Rohit Moore and this is a sixth lecture of Unit 3rd. Unit 3rd is already about the bending stress of beam, and then we further discuss the torsion as we didn't discuss the torsion a little bit in the last lecture. Okay, where we find the torsional equation, which is similar like the bending equation of beam, but just in a case of in case of we replace the bending moment by torque. Okay, so in last lecture we discussed what torsion is, okay, what is torque, how that can be affect the beam, okay. Then thereafter we discussed the assumption that torsion is based on to deduce the torsional equation. Then we have a derivation of torsional equation, okay, which is come T upon J tau upon R is equal to G theta upon L, okay. And in the further portion we're going to discuss today, okay. So as we did discuss, we're going to find the comparison between solid shaft and hollow shaft of a circular section, okay. So we easily find the first difference between these two cross beams or say shafts is the diameter, which in case of solid having the diameter capital D or D naught, and in case of hollow shaft we have two diameters, capital D and small d, which is to be known as, this is a solid shaft and this is a hollow shaft, where we have two diameters, inner diameter and external diameter. So we easily know their first difference has to be made based on the polar moment of inertia value, okay. This is a polar moment of inertia value of solid shaft, which is this, and polar moment of inertia value of our hollow shaft, where capital D and small d is the internal and external diameter of hollow shaft. G is the modulus of rigidity, theta is the angle of twist in radians on a length L, okay. So let's just get to the where the comparison has been made, okay. So before that we have two more notations which can be used in the topic of torsion, which is tensional stiffness. Tensional stiffness is defined as a torque per radius of twist, which is denoted by K, and the value have T upon theta. What that means? That means is if we have a cross section and have a diameter, and due to torque the point here displays, okay, and we assume there is a unit deflection of radius, okay, yeah, or say unit twist of radius, then how much torque is used is known as tensional stiffness. Again, to make unit radius of twist, how much torque is required has to be known as tensional stiffness, denoted by small k, and can be calculated T upon theta, which also be equal to Gj upon L. And the next notation or say analytical deduction is power transmitted by shaft, which also be quite a prime factor to be used in the case of torsion in a shaft. So where we can find the power which can be transmitted by a shaft, okay, which can be calculated by T into omega, where T is a torque and omega is a angular velocity, which can be reduced by 2 pi n upon 16, okay, where n is a number of RPM, means round per minute, means how much rotation can be made by a shaft in minute, okay. That is the value of capital N, and by simply applying the value of torque we have a value of power transmitted by a particular shaft, okay. Now next portion, torsion of hollow shafts. So here it is a comparison between these two. hollow and solid shaft. We already discussed the value of polar moment of inertia J for hollow shaft, which is here. If we assume that the ratio of internal and external diameter in hollow shaft is 1 by 2 or half, then the stress generated in hollow shaft has to be equal to how much? With taking these two parts of the equation, we need to find the shear stress. Simply multiply R into here, TR into J. Okay, the value of R converted in the diameter d naught by 2, and this is a value of polar moment of inertia for a hollow shaft denoted here it is. And by solving these two by taking a common factor from these two values and by cutting upside down value, we have this portion, and by applying the ratio of d small d by capital D, which is 1 by 2, we have this extra portion from compared to the solid shaft, which is 16T upon pi d naught cube. This is the shear stress or maximum shear stress value for solid shaft, and this is a value for hollow shaft. We can easily find there is a extra value of a factor due to hollow shaft, which is can be converted in the percentage form with compared to the hollow shaft, which is 6.6 larger. Okay, how can we find that? Simply deduct these two. We have a value of 0.066. Okay, 0.066, and simply by multiplying value of 100, okay, we having a value of 6.66. this is a percentage increase from solid shaft to hollow shaft. Okay, this is the comparison based on the shear stress value of solid shaft and hollow shaft. Okay, and another basis of comparison is due by weight. Okay, so by comparing the weight, we have these two cross section, solid one, this is a hollow one, and by assuming length of the beam is L and density of the material is rho, and by taking the same ratio of internal and external diameter, which is 1 upon 2, then we can simply find the weight of the hollow shaft by deducting the area of a external diameter to the internal diameter, and by solving these two, we have a value of 0.75 pi d naught square upon 4 L into rho. This is the weight of a hollow shaft, and by deducting this value to the weight of solid shaft, we have a value of this 0.25 pi d naught by 2 upon 4 into L into rho, by means which we have a reduction in weight of 25%. Okay, what conclude this two parts of the hollow and solid shaft value is that in case of hollow shaft, we have a increased value of shear stress, which is 6.6%, and decrease in weight by 25%. That is the basic fundamental reason of choosing or applying hollow, circular or section of different shape into the construction of steel structures. Okay, because we have a higher value of shear stress in case of hollow section, and also the weight is reduced by 25%. That is far more economical than the hollow shaft. Okay, the next portion is combined effect of bending and torsion. Okay, so we already know the combined effect of bending and torsion. What that means? That means is, assume we have a circular beam. Okay, then we have a torque T. Okay, and at this part portion is fixed, and this part is free, and we have a load W. So in that case we have a bending moment and torsion side by side simultaneously. So in that condition where bending moment and torsion occurred at the same time, okay, then in that particular condition, how can we find the maximum shear stress and principal stress? Okay, then how can we find the maximum shear stress and principal stress? So to find we need to have the value of stress in both cases, due to bending moment or bending stress and due to torsion or torsional stress. Okay, we already know the bending stress, which is 32 m upon pi d cube, and the shear stress, which is 16t upon pi d cube. We already discussed how that can be reduced, or you can refer to the previous lecture. You can find how these values can occur. Okay, then we have a generalized equation of maximum principal stress, which is sigma 1 comma sigma 2, okay, which is denoted here as sigma is equal to half sigma b plus half under root sigma b square plus 4 tau square. This is a generalized equation for principal maximum stress. By simply putting the value of sigma b and tau in this equation and solving it, we have the maximum principal stress, which is 16 upon pi d cube m plus under root m square plus t square, where this portion half m plus under root m square plus t square is known as equivalent bending moment, okay, which would give the same maximum bending stress. Okay, so this is the value of 16 upon pi d cube m plus under root m square plus t square is a maximum principal stress occurred in both condition, bending and torsion. And the maximum shear stress can be calculated by maximum shear stress equation, which is tau is equal to half under root sigma b square plus 4 tau square. By applying these two values and solving it, we have a 16 pi d cube under root m square plus t square, okay, and here in this equation under root m square plus t square is equivalent torque, which will give us the same shear stress. We already also find the shear strain energy, okay, which is can be deduced by this formula, which is denoted by u is equal to 1 upon 2e sigma 1 square plus sigma 2 square minus 2 nu sigma 1 sigma 2, where nu is a Poisson's ratio. Okay, this is also a different topic of strain energy. If anyone likes to know how this equation and the equation and this principal stress equation derived, then make a comment in the comment box below the video, so I can make a video on these two topics, how these two particular equation is derived. So in this equation we have a sigma 1 and sigma 2, which is a principal maximum stresses, which can be deduced by placing the plus and minus value, okay, because we have a plus minus value with the under root, okay, with every under root value we have a plus and minus value. So to find the principal stress sigma 1 comma sigma 2, by simply putting plus value and minus value, we have a sigma 1 here and this is a sigma 2 value, and by placing these two value in here and solving it, we have final this equation, which is 16 square pi square d power 6 e 2m square plus t square bracket 1 plus nu. So this is a shear strain energy equation. Okay, this is all about torsion and torsion equation. Okay, so this is the end of the unit 3rd. If anyone likes to make any query, question, comment, or any kind of doubt, any part of the topic, just make a comment and let me know, so I make another video to just explain your query or your question or your problem separately, okay, by placing your name into the video and explaining the whole thing scenario, by taking you as uh, a person to be questioned, okay. Me. So this is all about this unit third, bending stress and torsion. Thank you.